Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking at a book from Legal Action Group. It's one in their great series of books, which for us as practitioners in these areas of law are extremely helpful. It's very similar to all of their publications, about 450 pages. This one is called Children in Need. It's got a subtitle, Local Authority Support for Children and Families. There's a bit of blurb on the back, you can see there. The book itself is very light and very much in keeping with the lag structure. You've got the main work and then you've got the appendices 2/3 the way through. It's been written by my old colleague Ian Wise, Queen's Counsel, and a member of his team at Doughty Chambers, Steve Broach, Caoilfhionn, Gallagher, Alison Pickup, Ben Silverstone and Azeem Suterwalla. We've given it a title, Entitlement to Services and Support for Disadvantaged Children, the first practical and accessible guide from LAG, and that's what it is. We haven't had this sort of book before, and I think it's very useful to have it for this particular area of law, linking local authorities and the state with children who need help. Now what you've got is a standard structure for the book. You've got footnotes at the bottom, which are very helpful, and you've got numbering at the side, so you can find things quite quickly. What I did like as well were with the various chapter headings, you've got a nice little index which shows you what's actually covered in the indexes, in the actual chapters themselves. Then you go through to the appendices, which covers primary and secondary legislation, some general resources at the front, and then other aspects which I think are very useful. Then at the back you've got a proper index. Anyway, thank you to Ian and his team at Doughty Street Chambers, because this book is dedicated to everybody working on the front line to protect the rights and interests of children in need and their families. I think they succeed in that aim very, very well indeed, and I'm very grateful to have it with the sort of practice I have. I don't do very much of this work, but what I do, this is the sort of book I would need to give me that extra bit of help when I'm dealing with this difficult area. It's likely to be considered a publishing first, in that it is apparently the first handbook of its kind to focus on the services and support that children in need are entitled to and from local authorities, entitlements which are all too often denied, possibly one would assume through misunderstanding, misinterpretation, or just plain ignorance of the law. This guide will do much, we think, to address such inadequacies by clarifying the duties and powers of local authorities to support children and their families suffering the consequences of a variety of difficulties, from disability to custody and care. The needs of migrant children and families as well as trafficked children are also stressed. I think that's very useful because Ian comes from a background of local government as an elected member, as I do, and I think that this is very helpful because many elected members have no idea of this area and don't want to know about it. But it's an area we do need to consider, especially if we've had inner city work and children that come from that particular part of the country. It's an area I've done with my teaching practice as well. It's been compiled and written by Ian Wise QC and his staff within the public law sector that they have at Doughty Street, and its main focus is on page 3 of the Children Act. Just one example, of course, here of the many points of interest revealed is the distinction between duties of local authorities, what they must do, and their powers, in other words, what they can do. The difference is not merely one of semantics. There's a pressing need on the part of local authorities to understand what the difference is and to act upon this insight for the ultimate benefit of society's most vulnerable members, i.e. children. There are an estimated 1 million children in the UK in various categories of being considered to be in need. So this book marks, I think, an important step forward in ensuring that they receive the proper and adequate care and consideration to which they're entitled. For anybody involved in or responsible for the welfare of vulnerable children and their families, that covers lawyers, academics, social workers and frontline staff, and local government persons, Children in Need, with its clear and accessible text, should be considered required reading. It's not a theoretical text, says Lord Justice Mumby. It's a handbook for the real world, and that's it. That's what it is. So for those keen to do research in this area of law, Children in Need lists a wealth of sources for further inquiry, which is given in the towards the back of the book, including tables of cases and so forth. The law is stated as at the 1st of March 2011, and as the LAG title suggests, it's a first for this area of child law. And thank you to all concerned for an excellent publication. Bye bye.